Okay, yeah. Okay. So, hello and welcome to the podcast of cinema. We still have no idea why we're doing this, but we're here, the podcast of cinema, and we've got discount codes for the Northern Festival of Cinema and the London Festival of Cinema. Northern Festival of Cinema is POCNFO, and the London Festival of Cinema is POCLFO. Anyways, we've got our first guest today, and we're doing this with none other than the filmmaker that, when I think about the Northeast, when I think about films in the Northeast, when I think about film in Newcastle, pun intended, I think about this guy. It's none other than Liam Bowering. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Thank you for quite the introduction. That was.
Yeah, I usually put you under, but I'm putting you over this time because we're live. So this is my first thing, and when we first joined the call, this is what I was about to ask you. What I said, I'll keep it for the podcast. So what have you been up to? You've been doing quite a lot.
Um, I've just been making things, right? At the minute trying to take a little bit of a break from filmmaking just to try and figure out a couple of other career opportunities. Um,
Yeah,
Not that I'm saying I will never be back in filmmaking. You know me, mate. I'm always on set.
it's like, yeah, you've retired around 10 times. You came back around 11. So speaking of other ventures, and like this is supposed to be a film podcast, but I've seen your Instagram bio.
Yes, yes,
Yes,
yes, you have.
it says filmmaker slash aspiring politician. What does that
It
mean,
does.
Liam?
Sorry.
Tell me.
So I'm trying to be a politician now.
Okay, that's great. As weird as the laugh, like as weird as I'm laughing about it, I'm just laughing about it is because like I know you and I expect the unexpected, and like I'm just trying to go to politics now. Like, politic your way into films or something. That's great.
Mate, it's not just politics. I'm doing comedy as well.
Oh wow. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
yeah.
know. I'm
Very,
branching out.
we had some very good hits together in comedy. Like just us sitting down and talking shit. Like we had some good hits. Wardrobe is one. You could use that
Wardrobe
as
is one.
material. Wardrobe is
Wardrobe will
one.
always be one.
Yeah, but like I'd want people to understand what we're talking about. So what have you been doing in films? You've been directing stuff.
So I've been working on a couple of different things. So we recently just wrapped on a feature film, which is an anthology of 8 short films called the Mam films, which are all based around the struggles of being mothers within the northeast of England.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
And sorry, go on.
I think I've heard about this the last time I was doing NFO. You were filming, I think, or like just around filming, something like that. So tell me more.
So I think what you're on about is we're just about to get ready to go to the premiere.
Oh yeah.
Which has been a really, really cool experience that we got to do. So we booked out a cinema in Byker in Newcastle, which was just an incredible experience. And now we're in the process of submitting to various film festivals around the world.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Um, I'm not sure if I can publicly say this, but it's you, so I will publicly say it. Um, we have officially submitted to Sundance Film Festival.
Mm. Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
If you get
yeah.
onto that one, that's huge. That's huge. Like to me, we got into Screamfest in the LA Chinese Theater, and I haven't went there. The guy, director Mohammed Farid, he went there, convoluted. It's premiered over there, and it was like unreal just seeing him, just seeing that film being premiered in a place where Tarantino premieres his films. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh my
crazy,
God,
isn't it?
that's my film. And now, in 2 days, we get to open the Bahrain Film Festival with that film. I'm the first film and last film, the only film screening on the opening night, which is like, oh my God, that's like the greatest honor I can get. And I'm like, oh my God, I love this. I'm like, just very excited for this. And like, I think if you go to Sundance, that's like your $1 million made, I guess.
Well, it's the biggest film festival in America, top 5 film festival in the entire world.
Yeah.
So
So, what was your role?
So my
And
role was various
yeah.
roles. So I came on to basically be one of the overall producing team
Yeah.
of the whole thing. So I was producer on pretty much every one of the shorts in various producing roles. But I was a runner on the very first one as well. Then I was a gaffer, I was a director, I acted, I voice acted. I did a bit of everything.
So here's a question. What do you get when you know a bit of everything as a filmmaker?
I think you get knowledge and skills that are not only, I know the podcast is obviously about filmmaking, but it's also various life skills you get. Like when you be as mainly, let's say producer, for example, which is mainly what I do, you learn management, just complete time management, people management. You understand how the biggest thing I think I've learned is leadership styles. So I've been looking into a lot of leadership styles and how like each individual member of your team responds to certain styles.
Mhm.
Um, but I think you get just an overall understanding of the industry, and you can fill in various roles as well. So, for example, I was working on a show not too long ago where the gaffer was ill that day, so I just stepped in and did it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what's the like number one tip you wish to have known when you've got into films?
Um, just how long it takes.
Okay.
Um, the process is months and months. That feature film, we started working on it in August of last year, and we had the premiere in July, I think.
All
So
right.
just how long those processes can take.
Okay. So, in terms of the Northern Festival of Cinema, last year we established the Filmmakers Recognition Award. And the
Yes, we
first
did.
thing we recognized is Liam Bowering, and we forgot your award on the day.
Yep, that was
What a
so funny.
story. Let's talk about the full circle. So in terms of your contribution to, let's say, the Northeast film scene at the minute, where do you think it's headed right now? Where's the Northeast film scene is headed to right now?
Well, I think it's probably the fastest growing place in the country for filmmaking at the moment, with the various studios that are opening up, especially Fullwell 73 studio in Sunderland, um, which I've had, which I think would be an excellent opportunity for the region. It's projected to create 9,000 jobs, which is an insane number of jobs. It'll be one of the biggest employers in Sunderland. Now I'm going a bit political, but it's a massive opportunity though, like I've heard that various studios such as Universal and Disney are already looking into booking the studio out, and it hasn't even started being built yet.
Wow. Wow. That's phenomenal. Like it's the things where like I've been shooting outside of the region, but like there's this guy and I happen to forget his name. He used to work for Northeast Screen. And before moving out of Newcastle, he told me one thing. And it's still stuck in my head. It was like, yeah, go out, film outside. And then he was like, but never forget, you'll always come back. Keep that in mind. Whenever you can come back, whenever you can shoot in the Northeast, always come back. And me seeing all this development stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's home. I need to be back. I need to shoot there. I need to do stuff there. And I need to get funded there.
No,
And
I
it's
agree.
something.
I massively agree. The region is ever expanding. I mean, you look at the Ken Loach films that have been shot here recently,
Yeah, yeah.
incredible opportunities. And then Danny Boyle shooting 28 years later here.
I was gonna say Tony Park is on that one. Shout out to Tony
Yeah,
Park.
mate, and
It's
so
it's
many people on
absolutely
that.
phenomenal. You go and see Tony Sparks' IMDb. You get to see like, and I'm not even kidding you. Like, I'll skip on the first one. The second one is like Dinner with My Family. The third one is The Old Man and the Waitress. The fourth one is like Dispatch Dream, and then the first one is like 28 years later on his IMDb. And
And
I'm like,
the mad thing as well is Tony worked on some of the Man films as well.
yeah, 2020 is absolutely unreal. Or like, I just see this and I'm like, okay, that's my film. That's my mate Jake's film. That's my film again. And then that's Danny Boyle's film with Cillian Murphy and Tony Park. wow, he's my guy, and he came back to do influencering, and I'm like, I'm just
So many
massively
people we
proud. Like
know,
someone,
like various actors that we know auditioned for it and got to various stages throughout the audition process, and some actors that we've both worked with got cast in the film and then couldn't do it.
we both worked
Um,
with.
Aman, Aman Rashid, he worked
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah. It's absolutely incredible to see like those guys. You know, we know them, and then they got this like amazing opportunity to do like an amazing film with like top talent, and I'm like, wow,
It's
yeah,
crazy.
those are my guys. Those are my people.
There's no reason
So
why,
like,
like, this is the thing, right? A lot of those people have only been doing film for a various number of years. I think Tony Park's only been doing it for 6 or 7 years.
yeah,
And he's at a point where he's now getting to work with the likes of Cillian Murphy.
the best actor in the world based on when he worked with him. He was the best
Yeah,
actor based on the Academy, right?
yeah.
Like there is no greater honor.
And it's so cool
Uh,
to see things like, it's so cool to see, Danny Boyle, of all people, like working in like Newcastle and around the areas that I live. And it's the same thing
yeah.
like Indiana Jones shot here a few years ago, so did Transformers. And it's
Mm-hmm.
all these incredible things that are shooting in the north now. And it's just starting to show that you don't have to film in London, you don't have to go Pinewood, you don't have to film in Manchester. Like there's real opportunities for filmmakers in this region now. And I've been in this industry a number of years now, and it's the best time to get in. By far the best time it's ever been.
Yeah, I think like the only thing that's really missing right now, and this is what pissed me off of London mainly, is that like you expect money to come from outside rather than inside. You expect the American to come in and shoot, or the
Mhm.
foreigner to come in to shoot, but you don't fund the locals as much. When we talk feature films that are like fully funded, you get like 10 a year in
Yeah.
cinemas. Where you compare that to any other like 10 years period of like let's say 2000 to 2010. See how many British feature films are in cinemas per year.
No, I
They're
agree.
way more
Like,
than 10.
and
They're way
it's
more than
and
10.
it's it's like that shows the current situation that financially we're in. The
Yeah,
budget for the UK was announced yesterday. I know we spoke about it briefly, but there's
yeah.
zero funding now for There's zero extra funding for arts councils in the budget now.
Mm-hmm.
And when you've got something like TV and film, which is arguably one of the fastest growing industries in the UK right now, to then say, "Oh, we're not going to fund it anymore," is insane.
Yeah,
Like, if you
yeah,
don't fund this, you're not getting Danny Boyle shooting his next feature in Newcastle or even the UK for things like this.
yeah. See, like in my head, when I left the Northeast, I'm like, yeah, okay, maybe I don't blame myself to like, I can see the where I would have like, okay, I need to leave right now because like you get one per 3 years or whatever of like a big feature or whatever, and like it's mostly from the outside. I might go and gamble to go to London, but now I can fully see myself like, you know what? I'll just go to Hollywood.
Hmm.
And I or like I'll go to somewhere else that is like funding films, and there are like other countries other than Hollywood, and like China, fastest growing
Australia,
film market in the world right now. Canada, Vancouver, they're doing a
yeah,
lot of things. Like I could see myself going there because I'm like nothing is
Australia
getting
as well
funded
is doing
locally here. Australia,
Australia.
yeah, that's
Australia's doing
another
quite a
one.
lot at the moment as well.
Saudi Arabia is another one. And like there are a bunch of like different countries that are like funding, especially funding locally. And it's not happening in the UK where like one more thing I'll mention about this point. One of my friends who I've met in London just got into the film industry like 1 year at best. And she texted me, she's like, is there any tips for me to get like onto film sets and stuff? And I was like, hope that more people spend their money in this country.
At least,
That's
at
it.
least if you're wanting to get paid for doing them, yeah.
That's the thing because like uh she wants to do like she wants I think she's doing another job at the minute, but she wants to do like films full time, and I'm like, yeah, just or other than that, like you go and make your own film, but then you'd have to have like some money, at least like £5 in your pocket to pay for
Yeah,
something,
no, I
and
would
then
agree.
like and then do something and then hope maybe you'd make your money back. But like most of the time, as we both know, we never made our money back on anything
Yeah.
we've done.
But I think,
But it
but
is
I
what it
think
is.
there are organizations and things like that, especially in the Northeast, right? Like I help run
Yeah,
as you know, help run a film club in the Northeast called
yeah,
Newcastle Film Club. which is really
Hmm.
sort of championing the idea that you can make films with no money, and like there are people who are
Yeah,
willing to help but it's going to be you can only do that for so long, and you only put so much time and effort in before you have
mhm.
to start looking at this being a financially viable route for a lot of people.
And I think this is why we supported I love the guys, but other than like personally liking the guys who runs the Newcastle Film Club, I like the concept. I like the idea of how it supports people and like how it like generates money to do films, and it just goes back and forth, and like we make money to spend money to make money to spend money on films again and again
Yeah,
and again and again, and it gets the chance for everyone to do it regardless of their experience. Like someone who's never done films ever before could be the director, and then this could kickstart their career. Like and in a lot of ways, you've done it this way.
yeah, no,
Like you're the
massively
biggest
right.
example.
I've wanted to do this for near on 20 years, and it got to a point mainly in COVID lockdown, and I just thought, do you know what, I'm not just going to sit around. Like, the world is not going to just give me the chance to do it. I'm going to have to go out and fight for the chance to do it. So
Hmm.
for 3 years, I worked my absolute socks off. I just got on every set I could, said yes to every single set that I was offered. And
Yeah,
3 years in, and I'm now looking at writing my own feature and started a production company and getting some arts council funding for things and looking into potentially doing a feature in the next couple of years.
yeah. And like this is the thing. Like it's all stemmed down from an opportunity, from a chance, from a gamble, from like a random film club at the time. They were like, we'll do something, we'll gamble on people that have never done this before. And then they got the chance. And now you're telling me you've done your production company, you're telling me you've worked in a feature, you've done all these like great things, worked with some absolutely amazing actors, and it's all because of a chance. And I think what's missing locally is more chances to the locals. This is why you don't see the next Edgar Wright, because they don't have the chances to be the next Edgar Wright.
No, I do agree, and it's a lot of the way the funding system works is very much who your friends are and have you got a proven track record of spending money at this level so that we know we're not going to. I think the issue as well comes down to a lot of production companies and a lot of people with the money and the power to make those decisions just not wanting to take risks anymore.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
all
yeah,
about
yeah.
what is going to make me profit, because that's all I care about ultimately is profit, profit above everything else. The art
Yeah.
has now become so secondary to profit, and it's why we're not going to see the next Christopher Nolan or the next Edgar Wright or the next, pick any famous British film director who all started on low budgets. It's now
Yeah.
10 times harder to do that than it was even 10 years ago.
Yeah, I kind of understand where like yeah, I see films this way as well, like business first but art second or whatever. Yeah, by the end of the day, if you pay this money, you like, especially when you go into the millions category, you preferably you'd make your millions back. But at the same time, if you don't gamble on lose 10 millions to make 20 millions 5 years down the line, you will never have a functional business. You'll have to lose money to make money.
Yeah.
And this is what we're kind of not having anymore. And eventually, like stuff would happen. But anyways, I'd like to ask you now just about short films in general and stuff you've seen at the Northern slash London Festival of Cinema. Can you name me like your top three, five films you've seen, including your film at like the Northern Festival of Cinema?
Can I say my own? No, I'm joking. I won't do that. There was an excellent film at the Northern Festival of Cinema this year called Cakes, directed by a guy
Yeah.
called Johnny Herbin. And
Mm-hmm.
Johnny was there, and I had a lovely chat with him. And I've seen that his film's going on to play incredible festivals in the UK, and I think a couple abroad now as well. I
Yeah, we
know
were
how
the
much.
first to champion that film. We were the first to give it an
in,
award.
Indeed, we were, yes. And I think I can't remember exactly what year it was because it was a number of years ago now. But there was a film called Candlelight, which I know we both
Oh,
absolutely adored.
I love that
Um,
film. I love that film.
that the team who worked on that should be on Disney because honestly, it
Oh
was
yeah.
insane.
Oh yeah. It's a team from, oh my god, I'm gonna get that wrong. No, please don't kill me. Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland, I think.
You think?
I know.
But
But yeah,
I remember,
they're
I
absolutely
remember that
amazing.
film so well, and I remember me and a couple of my friends who were there were like walking. back that night and just talking about how incredible that was.
I remember I've seen that film after I've seen it at my festival at Sunderland Short Film Festival, and I looked
Yes,
at it and I was
God.
just pointing at the screen. I just, what's wrong? What's my
We
problem?
sat next to each other then as well, didn't we? And we were
I
like,
was like, I've seen that one. I've seen that one. And I was like, it's so mine. It's so mine too. I love it.
no, there's
Yeah.
been some really interesting stuff that's always played. I think
Any
another one
other
that
plugs?
really, sorry.
Any other plugs other than Candlelight?
Um, I think a big one I loved was The Last Meal by Craig Crouchman was the DOP on that one.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was supposed to work on that actually. I'm sure I got asked, but I'm sure something happened where I couldn't. But
I'm.
I love that film. I think it's excellent.
Mhm.
Me and
Mhm.
Craig have had various chats about that film, and I just think it's an incredibly simple concept. It's two people in one room, right? And I think the
Yeah.
script was like 5 pages.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes to show that there's simple concepts in that, right? But imagine like that as a feature, because without spoiling the film, there's a lot you could do to expand that world.
Yeah.
And I think that if you give people like Craig Crouchman, like the production team behind that, the money to do something like that, but on a much larger scale, you will find your next Edgar Wright and Chris Nolan's. They are making
Oh,
things.
I totally agree. Where like the cinematography is one of the best I've seen in short films. It won our best cinematography last year, and it's just absolutely outstanding. Like the set, the costumes, the lighting, the camera, uh, everything about that film was just like very beautiful, and it low key reminds me of Dinner with My Family. So I'm like, hey, I like it.
What a good film that one was.
Yeah. Speaking
Mm.
of Dinner with My Family, smooth transition. So we worked together on Dinner with My Family. Okay.
Indeed, indeed, we
Uh,
did.
One of like if you'd ask me right now the minute it was my favorite film, I'd probably say Dinner with My Family. But if you'd ask me tomorrow, it's Queen of the North or whatever, Influencer
Of
Inc.
course.
Something else, Stars Align. But yeah, it's like whenever I look back at that set and those memories, I look back at them very fondly, and I'd like to ask you any memories you'd like to share. Go on.
God, where do we start, right? I mean, it all started with with the promise that you'd get me on your next short, and then you started making a short, The Ill-Fated Heartbeat, and you didn't ask me on it. And I remember being like, "You've lied to me," and then Heartbeat got cancelled, and then
Yeah.
the idea of Dinner with My Family started coming up, and I was waiting for the text, and it never came off you. It came off our lovely director of photography and
I
co-producer,
miss him. I
Theodore
miss him.
Yusa.
I miss him.
I
Yeah.
miss him too.
Yeah, I texted him. I was like, test it with him. And I was like, I don't know, I was with him. I was like, test it with Liam. And then I'll talk to him.
But there's so many, like how many 3 a.m. production meetings did we do at your flat?
Oh, a lot. A lot. It's one of
So
my
many
favorite
production
memories
meetings.
on set. Like, it's a thing I was never able to replicate. Like, right now, I'm working on a feature. It's very cool. But, like, I've done a lot of things after that. But, like, none of them had beaten
I
that one.
remember,
Because
yeah, no, like there's so many memories,
it,
like you
it
remember the
was my
first time we
first
were.
and probably last buddy movies where I'm like
Hmm.
buddies with everyone. We're just sleeping in the like flat and we're just like doing this DIY on a budget and
It's
just
literally just hopes and dreams, right? At these sorts of levels, it's like there's nothing really in it, like it's just obviously I know it was your dissertation film for uni and that's incredibly important, but it's just
eh.
like us doing
Not what does it
things.
mean right now.
But what it is it's like it's filmmaking for passion, right? And that's the biggest thing, and you can't ever lose that, even when you go into work with the much bigger productions that I know you have and I have since. And it's still there in every person I work with, those productions, even the ones that have massive budgets behind them. I find that there's still those same levels of passion within people.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. Or like it's just like especially when it started with like the three of us, me, you, Theo, and just we just out there, and then slowly the team started expanding. Slowly we were getting like Rachel Stockdale, Jacob Anderson, Sharon Fascinelli, Wayne Thompson, Ryan Kerr, and they're like, oh my God, we have a very good ensemble. And then people behind the camera, Tony, Katie, Steve, Robert is on, Theo is in, Irvin is in, Fawaz is in, doing double duties. He's even cooking in the kitchen, and we're like, boom, boom, boom. It's like this. My buddy is,
The
John is there,
Yeah, no,
and
of course. Like there was so many amazing people there, and it was
yeah.
such a great team. Another thing that I think about when I come back to that film is just how much like different scales of people there was. How many different nationalities was there on that film?
Oh,
6?
like it's 7, 8, 9. I don't know, but like
It
this is the
was
cool
Saudi
thing about
Arabian, English, Bahrain, Romanian,
American.
American, of course, Wayne
Irvin.
Thompson.
Uh,
It's
oh yeah,
crazy.
Henry Thompson. He was she showed up, but
Oh,
I
and
was
Irvin,
counting
and
Irvin.
Irvin.
Yeah, I was counting Irvin. Yeah, Henry showed up. He's American. Oh, and I think Sharon is born in America.
I don't actually know that.
I think so. I think so, if I'm not mistaken.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So like we had a bunch of different nationalities, and like it's just crazy. And like stuff like that where like we're like that, like the collaboration, for example, with Fawaz started in there. Right now we're in development on a couple of things in Saudi Arabia, which is just
Yeah,
insane.
from
We're like
Jasmine
it
to Saudi
started
Arabia.
somewhere. Yeah. And we're like we have a developments over there now in Saudi Arabia. And I'm like, oh wow, this all started from a collaboration in Newcastle. Same thing, let's say, with my friend in China right now, Enzo. And like it started in London, and like all of a sudden he's inviting me to China. And I'm like,
Yeah, no, it's
God,
crazy
like
stuff,
I have
isn't
no
it?
words.
I met a guy at a film festival in Newcastle, not yours, so I won't name it.
Yeah.
Um,
It's fine to be honest. Go ahead.
um, and we talked for a number of months about creating something together in Brighton.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, that one fell through due to a various number of reasons, most majorly lack of funding. But
Yeah.
like those conversations that you have in basements of museums where the film festival is being held, um, even now we still keep in contact and talk routinely about trying to just make something happen. And fundamentally believe one day we'll make it happen.
Yeah, it's just absolutely crazy, like this guy, and like I knew him when I first moved to Newcastle. I thought he left afterwards. Then I met him by the odd chance where I was looking for people, and he like spawned in front of me. I haven't seen that guy in 3 years. I go and talk to him, don't know anything about his film abilities. The first time I legitimately tested this guy was the day he was on set. And then I was like, I haven't do okay, I like this guy, whatever, we worked very well. And we never stayed in like we never like got like in contact. We've always been in contact together and we never cut ties. So I go and later on we go and work on like 3 different films that he's done. And later on he goes and does a documentary about me. At the minute, I've met Fawaz like in like 4 or 5 different countries other than the UK in the
Yeah,
past 4 or 5 months. It's because we're like, oh my god, this guy, we're just going places, and like he's taking me to places. Like, oh, come and meet this guy in Saudi Arabia. Come and meet this guy in whatever. And I'm like, go, I'll come to you in Bahrain and see whatever. We'll do that. I'm like, oh wow, it all happened from like one collaboration. Same thing with like a lot of the other people we've worked with. Same thing, like if I go back to Tony Park, let's say, it all happened on like because of wrestling. We did something wrestling together, and it's else
yeah,
together.
no, I agree. And a lot of people that I met on the dinner with my family set I've gone on to work with since. Even became a first AC on the Old Man and the Waitress project that was mentioned
Yeah.
before that I was the producer on, which just won an award last night as well.
Oh
Not
yeah,
last night, Tuesday
congratulations,
night.
Jake. I told him this. He's done the thing that I've never done. Win a win
Well,
an award at the film festival you've attended.
I've not won an award for directing yet, but I will. I will.
I've never won an award for it by the film festival I've attended. Not even my
We've been
own.
nominated. We've been nominated.
Yeah, I've been nominated, but every time I attend, I lose. Every time I don't attend, I win. It's supposed to be the
Uh,
other way around, when like the Ballon d'Or or
you just
something when player
Yeah, I
doesn't
was
attend,
about to
he
say
loses.
you've got to do a Vinny Jr. bro.
No, no, no. I'm like the reverse psychology of that. I need to actually like no, yeah. I'm the reverse psychology with the exception of Vinny did not attend, he lost. Where if I was Vinny and I did not attend, I would have won. And you saw that. You remember that one festival when it was a clear winner on who's winning best film, and we all congratulated each other, and then it was rigged.
I remember that one. That was a good one, wasn't it?
Yeah, come on, it's like everyone, even a blind squirrel could actually see that one. And like,
Is that
like
festival
audience
still running?
reaction, everything. We had that one. It's just because I've attended, therefore I have to lose. It's the hardest thing ever as a filmmaker.
Is
Is
that
to win an
festival
award.
still running these days?
I don't know. It's an interesting question, you know.
To be fair,
But it was a very good one.
that was a good day.
Yeah.
All of us drove up
Oh,
there in the car.
yeah.
Suits. You remember we got suit. We were the
Yeah,
only people in the
yeah.
entire room with suits on.
Yeah, and I think that's the only time all three of us wore suits.
No, I don't think Teo and John were wearing suits that day.
Maybe.
I don't
No, you're
think so. I
right.
think it was just me.
John was wearing one.
Was he?
Yeah, John had like this blazer suit thingy.
I don't
He
know.
looked like something from like Peaky Blinders. But yeah,
Do you
Theo
remember
never bought a suit until he graduated.
I thought Teo.
And I bought that with him.
You've got like
He
two or
found
three,
one
haven't
on
you?
clearance. And I'm sorry I'm exposing Theo, but he found one on clearance for £15 on Primark. Like, I know Primark suits, and those go for like £30. Fair enough. I bought a few of them.
Yeah.
He found it for 15.
Hey, a deal's a deal, man. A deal's a deal.
Still. One of the main reasons I kept on getting him as a producer is he saved me a lot of money. Like, seriously. And I texted him recently because of one project we're doing. And I was like, Theo, I miss you because I just spent X amount of money from production funds. And he was like, what have you done? And I was like, I don't know. I miss you, Theo. It's because, like, you know me, when I want something, I really want it. And I'll do whatever is possible to get that thing. So we're like, let's say, oh, I'll give you 1,000 here, and 1,000 does not work. So I'm like, oh, how about 10,000 now? And I'm like, okay, deal. But then I don't have the 10,000. So what am I gonna do? Where
That's
Theo
it.
would go, and Theo was like, see, calm down. You don't need to do it. We'll find a replacement. When Theo's not there, I'm like, here's the 10,000. I'll find a 10,000 thing. And I'll go and go find it. And then I actually do find it. It's just insane.
Yeah.
And it just takes a lot of brain power. Like, this happened a lot with Convoluted. This is why we ended up like, we have the film now. It's won a lot of awards, but we've spent on that film like 72,000 USD. How did I find 72,000 USD? I don't know. I could do it again if you challenge me to do it. But how long did that take? Like 3 years?
Mhm.
And a lot of other films. But yeah,
No,
Theo saved a
that's
lot of
it.
money because Theo was my sanity guy. He's like, please calm down. Let's focus on directing. Let's focus on something else. We'll find a replacement actor, or we'll find a replacement whatever sound
And
guy.
we did. We always. That's the thing, right? We always made it. We always just made it happen. And I think that's the biggest thing. Is like there was a lot of issues with dinner with my family at points, especially in pre-production, and I think you'll honestly agree with that. I will not go into it, but there was, but again, we just worked around every single one of them.
So some way we had a film by the end. One last thing, because I have 1 more minute to go. One last tip for filmmakers coming into films again.
Say yes. Just say yes to every opportunity that's put in front of you if you can. Obviously, there's a lot of limitations there, but what it creates is connections. And what it creates is just work as hard as you can, because people remember people who work hard and people who show up and people who just are there because they want to be there. Ask questions as well. People love people who ask questions, show your willingness to learn, your eagerness to learn, and people remember these people. And then if they make it one day, or if you make it one day big, you've got your crew. You already know the people you're going to work on it with.
Yeah. I think one last thing I'll add is like, for example, myself, I've been helped by people, and therefore I would love to help people the same way those people help me. And I think it goes back to everyone in films. Like, the film community is generally more supportive than any other community you'd find, purely because it's a collaboration.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are people that will try to stab you in the back, But generally, people will have you.
Well,
Anyways,
thank you.
that's the end of the podcast. Goodbye, everybody.
Woo!
Goodbye, Liam.
Bye, Z's.